everybody. A warm welcome to the Worshipful Mayor of the Borough of Elmbridge, Councillor Mary Sheldon, and her husband and consort, John Sheldon, and to the members of the Hurricane team, and to everybody else here. Thank you for coming today. This is a really, truly momentous day. It is, of course, the anniversary of the start of the Second World War, with war being declared 80 years ago today. And it's a very fitting day, given everything that the Hurricane did in the Second World War to help bring the eventual victory. I think it's a very fitting day that we should be celebrating the team who have restored Brooklands Hurricane Z2389, which you see behind me. So I'm just going to start by saying a few words to welcome you all and to set the scene for why the Hurricane is so important to Brooklands. I'm then going to hand over to Alex Patterson, our Director of Collections and Interpretation, to talk a little bit more about this aircraft and its restoration. And then Brian Hennigan, one of the key members of the Hurricane team, is going to respond on behalf of the team. And then we have some presentations which the Mayor is kindly going to make for us. So I will begin. So 80 years ago today, Europe was facing really turbulent times of perhaps much more magnitude even than we feel today. I think it was 21 years since the end of the Great War. And this summer, 80 years ago, the whole country, the nation, the government, families were facing the idea that we might have to go to war again. And 80 years ago today, of course, Neville Chamberlain made that famous radio broadcast, which I'm sure we've all heard recordings of, saying that war had been declared following Germany's invasion of Poland two days before. Brooklands played a vital role in the aircraft production for the First World War, and the same was true again in the Second World War. There were over 3,000 Hurricanes that were assembled and first flown from here, which is nearly a fifth of the total that were built. And 2,500 approximately Wellington bombers also built here, which again is about a quarter roughly of the total built. The Hurricane was designed by Sidney Cann, who was the chief designer for Hawker, who were based in Kingston but had a long relationship with Brooklands. And the first prototype of the Hurricane was flown from here at Brooklands on the 6th of November 1935. The assembly line for Hurricanes at Brooklands operated from December 37 to October 42, so for quite a long period. And the directors of the Hawker Company foresaw the need for the country to rearm and for a huge increase in the number of fighter aircraft within the RAF before the government was even prepared to place orders for the aircraft it was going to need. And it was their foresight in setting up a production line that was capable of turning out the kind of number of Hurricanes that was going to be needed, that was instrumental in the fact that when war was declared, there were already 500 Hurricanes spread around about 18 or 19 squadrons in the UK. The Hurricane was an extremely versatile aircraft. It included, as well as being used as a fighter, it included a variant that was a bomber and a Sea Hurricane, as well as many others. It was cheaper and less labour-intensive to produce than the Spitfire, and the ground crews liked it because its simple design made it easier to fix on the go at the RAF workshops. In the summer of 1940, Britain was standing alone against Germany, and the Battle of Britain was one of those key moments in the Second World War, which had we not been victorious, the whole course of the war would have gone differently. And the Hurricane was absolutely instrumental to winning that battle. More than half of the enemy aircraft shot down were shot down by Hurricanes, which were generally dispatched to try and deal with the bombers. So I think, given the strong connection to Brooklands and the huge importance of the Hurricane to the war effort, you can see how vitally important it is that Brooklands Museum has a Hurricane to tell that story. But when the museum opened in 1991, we didn't have one. And there was a long search for one until the one behind me was found, but not like it looks now. It had crashed in Siberia in 1942. And Alex will explain in a minute the story of how it came to be here. But I just want to say to the members of the Hurricane team here, and to those who weren't able to make it today, and to those who are no longer with us, on behalf of the trustees of the museum, on behalf of the staff, all your fellow volunteers, and on behalf of the hundreds of thousands of people who've come and seen this aircraft during its restoration and now see it completed, thank you so much for your perseverance, your hard work, your skills and expertise, your dedication and your commitment. It's truly an amazing feat to do something like this that you have done over this period and to sustain the effort over such a long time. And this hurricane will always be a tribute to you, as well as to all the people that flew hurricanes and worked on hurricanes, built them during the war. So thank you so much. In fact, actually, will there be a lot of rounds of applause, but could we have a round of applause for the hurricane team? So, I should have said, sorry, I'm Tamalie Newbery and I'm the Director of the Museum, but I'm now going to hand over to Alex Patterson, who's our Director of Collections and Interpretation.
Don't clap yet, I don't know what I've said. Hello everybody, welcome. It's wonderful to see you all on such a special day, as Tamalie said. The story of our hurricane, serial number Z2389, began in 1940, when it was one of a batch of 1,000 aircraft built by Hawker Aircraft Limited, a year into the Second World War. Now, during its short service history, Z2389 flew under 5 different squadrons in the RAF, including 71 Eagle Squadron, which was made up of American volunteers who wanted to support the war effort before the US had officially started fighting. In April 1942, Z2389 was reassigned to the Russian Red Air Force and was created for shipping. The aircraft survived the treacherous passage in convoy to Murmansk in Russia, where it was reassembled and joined 767 Regiment of the Red Air Force on the 1st of June 1942. 20 days later, First Officer Ivan Kalashnikov was shot down during a dogfight in Z2389, crashing into an area of rocky ground on the remote Kola Peninsula in Siberia, where it lay undiscovered until 1992. The discovery of Z2389 and subsequent recovery of the aircraft by the summer of 1996 was at a time when Brooklands Museum had been looking to acquire an example of a Hawker Hurricane, the missing link in its collection and its story. Through a combined effort of the museum team, supported by a number of key individuals, including Jim Pierce, Z2389 was acquired and plans to have it shipped back to the museum got underway. Z2389 arrived at Brooklands Museum on the 14th of October 1997, very much in pieces and not as you see it here today. It was clear a great effort was needed to bring the significant aircraft back to life, having spent over 50 years buried in Serbia. Initial restoration work commenced the following summer, and by late 1998, a group of volunteers led by Roy Lomax were established, dedicating themselves to this project. From the very start, the aircraft required a tremendous amount of work to restore it to its former glory, and the team approached this endeavour with great enthusiasm, all having a passion for the hurricane and its place in Brooklands history. Challenges were met with creative approaches, with the team sourcing missing parts which had either been lost to history after its initial crash or decayed through the passage of time. Where original parts of the airframe could be saved, they were. Where not, faithful replicas have been made using original technical drawings to ensure an accurate representation of this aircraft. The team's passion for this aircraft is underlined by the 60,000 hours that they have spent working on this restoration. The fabrication of new wings, rebuilding the steel and wooden structure, stitching fabric on the fuselage, and the restoration of the cockpit has brought this iconic British aircraft back to life. Over the years, their work has attracted much attention from visitors, and the team have always found the time to talk to anyone who had questions, sharing their knowledge, stories, and enjoyment of this special aircraft to young and old alike. One particular conversation with a visitor led to her husband offering a long-term loan of a spare motor engine. Z2389 had been damaged from the crash, So, through the support of Mike Lodge and Merlin Engine, the team have been able to complete the forward section of the aircraft, which would otherwise be a struggle to do so. On behalf of the museum, I'd like to take the opportunity to thank everyone who's been involved in this project. Your unwavering support has helped preserve this vital aircraft for the museum, keeping the stories alive of the Hurricane and how it helped win the Second World War. I would also like to make a special mention to all those team members who are no longer with us, in particular Roy Lomax, who sadly passed away in 2016. Today, we are gathered here not only to reflect on the 80th anniversary of the outbreak of the Second World War and the significant role that Brooklands and the Hurricane played in that conflict, but to celebrate and pay tribute to the achievements of the Hurricane team, who have all dedicated the last 21 years to restoring the cyclone. What you see today is a fitting testament to the power of teamwork, creativity and resilience that Brooklands has inspired for many generations and will continue to do so thanks to the Hurricane team. Thank you.
Thank you, Alex. Brian, could I invite you to come up? So I'd like to introduce Brian Hennigan, who's one of the key members of the team and is going to respond on behalf of the project team. How do you say one of the key members?
I can't use the microphone because coming home from Vickers 63 years ago, I had an argument with a tree on the motorbike, which meant the left arm no longer works. So if I hold the microphone, you'll be hearing it. Yes. Now, what I'm going to do now is not repeat the dates because they've already been eloquently given to us. I'm going to refer to my notes. Now, the people you see here, which has already been stressed, is just the tip of a very big iceberg. We've had a dedicated team, as has already been alluded to, of people with all varying skills. A lot of people from the aviation industry, hawkers and Vickers, but other allied aircraft organisations, British Airways, etc., etc. So my few words today are a tribute to all the members of the team, past and present, who've performed their role, be it large or be it small, in bringing the aeroplane to the state it is now. Roy has already been alluded to, Roy Lomax, and here he is sitting there. I first knew Roy when the project started, but that's not quite true because they were after lottery money at the time and you mustn't have started the project. So Roy and John Ambrose worked on the engine bearers in great secret, just to ensure that we could make the round tubes into square ends. Which is what we did. So Roy, in fact, was a very, very important person. He was always in the background, sometimes in the foreground, meeting the management, trying to get this done. I will not elaborate any further, but I think Roy was a man that those of us who knew him came to love him. And I use that word in the fellowship sense. He was a lovely, lovely man and a great loss to the team, and more importantly, a great loss to the museum. He was first working at the museum when British Aerospace still had items on the premises, and they worked off trestle tables to do the teams. Now, I just want to give you one or two little examples going back to the very early days. Some of you will know that we started work in the acoustic building, when we started to rebuild the fuselage and all the other bits and pieces. And eventually, of course, like building the boat in the back garden, you had to do something about it. Now, when we first went into the acoustic room, which is where the Concord sim and other things are, it was a slightly different layout. On the floor was dark black carpeting. The walls were draped with heavy black drapes. In the corner was a grand piano, which was locked because some of us could do a tinkle. Me with another pair of hands, but we couldn't get there. But the reason it was there, it was Cliff's rehearsal room. And when I say Cliff, you know who I mean. Cliff Johnson, my brother-in-law. No, I don't. I mean Cliff Richard. Lived across the road. Sometimes his car was parked outside and the number plate said "Move It." That was a very well-known song. Now, eventually, in the acoustic building, the fuselage was taking up too much space. And Julian will remember this. There was a stud wall in there, a stud wall, separating the two rooms. It's a funny building. There are no right angles because we're doing acoustic testing there. One of our members, who cannot be here because of his medical situation, Peter Dry, got up a ladder with a 4-pound club hammer and started knocking 7 bells out of this stud wall. After it happened, someone said, do you think you ought to go and ask Julian? But of course by then it was a little bit too late. But never mind, it didn't matter because the whole thing has been changed. So that is just a little insight as to the sort of situation we were dealing with at the time. Tamalie has alluded to the situation, so's Alex. When it came back, people who were here will realise it was an aeroplane. Well, it wasn't an aeroplane. I think it was something that Mr. Coley would have grabbed with both hands. People looked at it and said, "You won't do anything with that." And I think the team looked at it and said, "We won't do anything with that." But there again, that is what you've got. The wings have been completely rebuilt. 70% of all the tubing in the fuselage has been done. You can't see it, but there's an MU repair. One of the girder sections, the Warren girder sections, has fractured. A shell had gone through it. And there's a clamp plate, which was a special clamp as part of the repair kit, which we in fact have left on there. But unfortunately you can't see it. Well, I think I've probably said enough. Just to say thank you very much for the very kind words that you expressed to the team. We do appreciate it. And all those lads up there, Richard, Roger, they can hear it as well. So that is good. I'm going to make one last plea, and I've underlined this, and I'm going to say, museum, you must service the engine. We have left you a valuable asset. Please do look after it. That engine has got to be turned to make sure lubrication is getting to the dry parts. Thank you for your time. I hope I haven't bored you too much. I'm now going back to join my good lady. Thank you.
That's a happy team.
Yeah, absolutely. And
It's an absolutely wonderful volunteer team.
do you want to say that so that everyone can hear?
Well, Brian, everybody is happy on the Hurricane. I mean, it's been years, but they're such a great group, and so is Brooklands. I love it.
So thank you, Hilary, and I know it's wonderful to have you here as well. No, I think people really want to hear from you all. It's your day, everybody, so, thank you. So may I invite the Mayor to come and join me, and we'll now ask you to come up one by one to receive your presentations, and I'm just going to do them in alphabetical order. I know who's here, but someone will correct me if I've missed anyone out, or let me know if there's anyone I've invited up who isn't actually here. So, Mary, would you like to come and stand over here? Thank you. So could I invite up Bob? Sorry, Bob, I don't know how to say your surname properly.
As in Orchard.
Bob Orchard. Bob Orchard as the first person. Thank you so much.
I can just turn it to you.
Now, everyone else watch carefully, because you're all going to have to do this.
Yes, if you could all up this way, please. Let's do one more. This way, please. Lovely. Thank you very much. Thank you. And again.
Thank you.
Actually wanted to.
Oh.
Did you want to take a vote?
Oh.
Thank you very much.
Where are you going to hang it for?
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Paul.
Thank you.
And I believe Patrick Bristol isn't here, is that right? So the next person is Ted Forster.
Wow, that's fabulous.
Lovely. Keep looking this way, please. Just one more. Other way.
Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, sorry. All right.
Oh, yes. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ted. And then Brian Hennigan, you're next.
If you can look this way. He's there. Keep looking this way, please. Just one more. And this way.
They keep saying about the Siberia. It wasn't Siberia, was it?
Oh, well, we have one, but we haven't
down in
so can I invite
Lament.
Ross Hennigan up, please? So, Ross, thank you all. Together, whether you hang them as a pair or a...
The only thing is,
Right, ladies, if you look this way, please. Just one more. This way. And this way.
no, I've got a nice place.
Yes, there's a whole team of photographers.
No, it's not.
And I'll put it down there.
Thank you.
Ross, thank you for all you've done. Peter Hughes.
You'd like to
Peter's not here. Okay. Stephen Lloyd then.
Straight. All right. Just Thank you. There we go.
Thank you.
Stephen, thank you very much. And Hilary Lomax, who's here as both a member of the team herself and also because of the huge contribution of her husband, her late husband Roy.
Oh, if only Roy was there. It was his pride and joy.
That's lovely. Now, ladies, if you like, look straight here, please. That's lovely. This one more. And then this way. Okay, look, another one of that, please.
You spoke with such emotion, and I think we all feel the same today. And well done. Thank you.
I need a larger wall.
And Robbie Robinson, who I believe is the last person today.
Just move the picture.
Yes, absolutely.
Just sorry. Stand there. Straight. So I'm just going to just see what it looks like. That's lovely. Look straight to me here, please. That's lovely. Ms. Lambert. Thank you very much.
And there's nobody else here today, is there? I mean, I know there are many of you here who've been involved in this project in different ways as supporters and helpers at different times, and we do want to extend our thanks to all of you too. This has clearly been a huge effort by a huge number of people, and we're very, very grateful to you. And may I thank the Mayor, thank you so much for coming and doing this today and for making the presentations for us.
It's a pleasure. I'm really, really pleased to be here. Thank you so much for asking me. It's emotional. I'm feeling emotional now, and you must be feeling pretty chuffed with yourselves. I think you've done something that is amazing, and for many, many people to appreciate in many years to come. Well done. Thank you.
So I'd just like to say thank you to a few people who've helped make this morning's event possible, particularly Mike Venables, who's here taking photographs and put together the presentations that you see on the slideshow. He's done a huge amount to help. Jeff Lee, who's also here as a professional photographer, but doing this for us in a voluntary capacity today. Steve Clark, who has helped organise the microphone that I'm speaking through and all the technology from the Brooklands members. And to Sean Hughes and to Jazz, who have volunteers themselves but have organised the whole event, with Sue Lewin, who's on holiday today but put a lot of work into it beforehand. So thank you to all of you for making this possible. Thank you all for coming, for celebrating with us. And do please enjoy the rest of the morning. There are some refreshments over in that direction, so do get yourself a glass of something to celebrate with and a piece of cake. And thank you again all for coming.